Hello YouTube and welcome back to Crazy Hat's Game Room. Today we're back in World of Tanks and this is a bit of a special episode. You see, I've been watching a lot of the mighty Jingles on YouTube and he just put up a video, I believe this morning as of this recording. And, basically he was talking about his channel and, one of the questions was, why does he think he's so successful? And he said it's because he, just puts out videos that, he likes to make and whatever. And, that was really kind of inspiring. I really enjoy, World of Tanks as a game. And, just as a sort of, maybe this is a one-off thing or maybe I'll do more. But, I was feeling inspired today. So I thought, why not do a garage review? Now, I doubt I'd ever be as good as him because he's had a lot more practice at it. And I don't have a voice mod pack, named after me or with my voice in it. But anyway, I wanted to give it a try and, cover a tank that, he hasn't covered yet. And, for various whatever reasons it is. But this is the thing I'm going to be looking at today. This is my VK.45 A, and this is the A variant. There's the B variant, which basically puts the turret on the back and has a little bit more armor at the front. So a lot of people I know think that this is an absolutely awful tank. And to be fair, in some of the battles you get into, it is pretty terrible. It's not really the most effective tank to fight tier 9s and 10s in, because unlike the Tiger II, which is its rival, it only gets a smaller 105 gun. And this gun is actually also available on the Tiger II, which is right here. However, it's only the second to last gun, and it really isn't that great. Now, it's not a terrible gun by any means, but it's just not as good as the Tiger II's gun. And that's the problem that people have with this. It's just not quite as good as the Tiger II. And really, a lot of people looking at this will think, yeah, this is kind of just a stepping stone to get to the mouse, which is what this leads into. And then the next one is the VK.45 A. Now, the VK.45 A plays a lot more like the mouse, which it leads into, having a rear-mounted turret and, I believe, twice the armor almost as the VK.45. But it's not necessarily a bad tank. It's fairly mobile, and I find people usually try and play it like the Tiger II, or like it has a lot more armor than it does, like you're playing the mouse or something. But that's really not the right way to play this tank. Really, it plays a lot more like the East. It's pretty fast and maneuverable, and the gun doesn't have the most penetration on Earth and has trouble sometimes petting the higher tiers of tanks. And I find if you play it like the East, instead of trying to play it like the Tiger II, you have a lot more success. Now, depending on the match you get, sometimes it's better to sort of play a support tank, but if you're on the top, you can play this pretty well as a mainline tank. Now, from the front, there's not a lot of weak points like that plague the Tiger P. I mean, you have your commander's hatch here, which is always a weak point, but your machine gun port has this rounded slab of armor on it, and it only has this little opening here and your little driver's port here that are really major weak points. But this armor is thin, and it's not really very well sloped, and your lower glacis is not really very good either. I find the best strategy is to take advantage of your 185 turret armor, and try and go hull down as much as possible, or to angle your armor, and really that's by this point, if you're not angling your armor properly, then you're not doing it right. But with the gun mantlet here and the 185 millimeters of turret armor, it's pretty decent at taking hits from the front, and it's pretty maneuverable, And I carry 10 gold rounds just for when I'm doing team battles or whatever, but I find I generally don't need them unless I'm in a tier 10 match. As for equipment that I have fitted this, I've only fitted the large caliber rammer because I'm not terribly wealthy, and I was looking at buying the East 3 very soon. But other stuff that I'd consider fitting to this, you know, improve ventilation, that's always good. Wet ammo rack, I don't find I'm getting ammo racked very much. I find, maybe a toolbox would be good because you get tracked a lot, as with any heavy tank, and a lot of modules end up getting broken by artillery or whatever happens to be shooting at you. So it does have that problem. And I find, for whatever reason, I attract a lot of artillery attention in this tank because it is not the most well-armored heavy tank. So a lot of already looks at it like it's an easy kill. So heavy spallliner isn't really out of the question, and neither is, the CO2 gas tanks, because this is a German tank, so if you look at it funny, it will burst into flames, unfortunately. Now, my understanding is the VKB doesn't have quite the same problem, but it is a problem on this tank. Coated optics, you really don't have the aiming time, or you're really not accurate enough to be firing on the move, and your gun really doesn't fire fast enough to allow you to do that. That's not really going to be very useful. Camouflage net, you're a big box basically. It's not going to help you very much, even if you're sitting still. But basically, it's not a bad tank, and let's go through a couple rounds, and I'll show you what I mean. Alright, so this is my first battle here in this VK.45 A. I have a couple mods installed. I have the Gnome Father's Historic Gun Sounds mod, and I have the Mighty Jingles, Community Fan, voice mod pack installed.
Here's how the game played out.
So, as you can see, I'm top tier in this battle, which is really where you want to find yourself in this tank, because it doesn't do so well against 9s or 10s, but we'll look more at that later. But, right now, I'm going to say right now, I don't do very good in this battle at all. I do abysmally, because I forgot what I'm even supposed to have been doing, and I try and play this tank like a heavy tank. And it just doesn't really work very well that way. You need to play it much more conservatively. Anyway, so let's see if we can't speed this up a little bit to get to the action. And I cross the river, and I see enemy tanks up ahead. Now, for other heavy tanks, it wouldn't be too much of a huge problem. However, I run into the problem that my team is all the way back there, and I'm alone up here. So I notice this, and I decide, well, I should try and wait for them. And I try and take a shot at this guy, but I can't see him. So then I move up here, take a defensive position, try and wait for them to move up. See if I can't spot something. And they look like they're coming. But it just doesn't go well once I find actual enemies. So my sixth sense, I've been spotted. I spotted that guy over there. Aiming at him. And I start taking fire, so I back up because I couldn't get a shot. And already starts coming in on me. So now other tanks are starting to show up here. And that's good for me. Except I can't pen these tanks because I only have the weaker of the two Gen 5 guns for the Tiger. And that's a Centurion 1 over there, and I just can't pen him. So I actually managed to pen him right there. But this gun is just kind of lackluster. I hit the Pershing there. And now is where I start running into trouble. There's a Su-100M over there. I take a shot. And up to this point, I'm doing pretty well. But everyone knows that this tank is not really the best armed or armored. And I'm playing alright for how this tank should be played as more of a support tank. But then I make a mistake, and I decide I'm going to pop out. And I keep popping out because we're losing pretty badly here. And I'm very quickly running out of allies. So there's not much else I can do. There's no one to support. They're not moving forward, and I'm just sort of stuck here. Hello, Pershing. Oh, let's have a go again and see if we can't do any better. I've already been spotted.
Shoot me, you bastards.
And I just get pummeled. I try fighting back, but everything is penning me. And this is really what the problem is with this tank, because it's not really very heavily armored from the front to start with. But then you have this big lower glacis that everything can shoot through. And even my front armor got penned right there. And my side. And that was it for this game. And we went on, unsurprisingly, to lose. But then again, we were down 7-0. So that's not really all that surprising. Let's take a look at the next. Alright, and here's my second battle in my VK.45. And I'm not top tier this time. And I play smarter than I did last time. But really, as you're going to see, the gun still ends up letting me down. So I'm just going to speed it up a little bit to get into the action. So I ended up taking up a position up on the hill, see if I can get some shots on anything really, because really, unless you're top tier, this is not really a very good heavy at all. So enemies start getting spotted, and then I see a T-34, and I try and get shots on these guys in here and the Su-152, and oh, there goes my sixth sense. And hitting the side of the Su-152, I did quite a lot of damage to him. But, you know, I start taking fire, so I back up. But basically the majority of this match, or all of it, if I remember correctly, I basically played like a support sniper. But the thing is, this tank really isn't great for that either, because the gun is just not really that accurate. As you can see, I missed that shot there. And that's a really common theme here when trying to snipe. what is that? It's one of the new German TDs. So I try again, and I miss again. This gun just really doesn't have the accuracy to snipe like this, but it's not really a good brawling gun either because your tank just doesn't have the armor to support that, and it's really just not a great gun. But, at least here I don't recklessly get myself killed, and my team is good enough that they are able to support me better. Oh, take a big hit there from the East 8. And pretty much this just keeps going on and on here. So I'm just gonna keep speeding this up because it's not really that entertaining to watch someone snipe and basically have to play it like a coward because the armor's just not there. Now, don't get me wrong, like I said in the beginning, this tank can be good, but generally team battles is where it shines the most. Now here is uh where I also struggle. There's a KV5. Let me see if I can see it. No, there's a low up there on that hill on a KV5. And I put shot after shot into the low, but even though I hit him, I just can't pen him. And, I just keep shooting and shooting and shooting. And, you know, I I just I accidentally hit my ally there, but I just keep shooting and shooting, and it just doesn't really make a difference. Now I see the E6 and I try and take some shots at him, but really, you know, really I just can't pen these guys. So I decided to go down and, there's only a couple guys left, so I try and take the fight to them. And it is reasonably quick, but, I get there, you know, right after it ends. Let's take a look at the final battle I was in. Alright, and here's our final battle I'm going to show you, and this one was with a couple of my buddies, Alexi and Mouse, and it doesn't go particularly well. However, I wanted to show what the VK looks like when you're fighting like in a city or brawling. So I end up going into the town, and I'm just going to speed it up a little bit so I can get to the town. But I'm really showcasing here that the armor is just not really great for brawling. Now, I do still like this tank, but situationally, I really like it for team battles when I can only face tier 8s and there's limited numbers of people that I can face. So I poke around a corner here and I just get nailed. And it would have been a lot worse if didn't have as much health as I did. And I try my luck again and get stuck here. I actually did bounce a shot or two here and there, but almost the entire team seems to be advancing up on me. So I pull back because I know there's no way I can go out there without just getting killed. And I see if I can't support this East over here. But then I notice that they're creeping up next to me, and I wait for them because I know that this is going to be a brawl. So it's a KV4, KV2, and some others are coming up, and I'm just waiting for them to come around the corner. Here comes a VK.45 as well. Now, I can't be expected to hold off all these guys alone, but even attempting to angle my armor, they still just go through every time. And I do some damage to the KV4. KV2 hits me, and I do the best I can to hold this flank, but there's just so much that I can do, and I do damage all of them, but this tank really isn't ideally suited to doing really much of anything by itself. And that VK was playing a lot better than I was. And, the other battles I had with my uh, teammates were better. But really, you need to be in a cohesive group in order to take advantage of any strengths the VK has. So that's the VK.45 A. Is it a great tank? No. I wouldn't even say it's really a very good tank at all. Certainly not the worst tank I've ever played, but I was really trying to showcase that it's really not very good on its own. I find the most fun you can have with this tank is if you are in a group with some of your friends and have someone to watch your back, or in team battles where it can't possibly get made to fight anybody higher than a tier 8. And in that instance, when you're in team battles, you play it more like a medium than you do a heavy because of its speed. Anyway, that was my review of the VK4502. Um, I don't know if I'm gonna do any more of these. I had some fun doing it, but yeah. I'd like to say thank you to the mighty Jingles for, inspiring people to do what they love to do. And I had fun with doing this, and maybe I'll do some more of them. Maybe I won't. I don't know. So anyway, until next time, see you later. Bye.